Xavier Ellis, thank you so much for joining us on Matt and Mates today.
Matt, pleasure. I'm glad we could tee it up. And as I was saying to you, you're a Yanchep lad, and I'm 3 minutes this way. So I'm glad we've settled on some place close to me.
Yeah, right in between, I reckon, from there. I've been pestering you on Instagram for a little bit. But the reason was because a few of the boys down at West Coast Tigers, where I played footy a little while, they sort of knew you, and they mentioned your name in passing, being like, "Oh, I'd be a pretty good guest to get on one day." And so I thought, throw the invitation out there, and I think we connected a couple of years ago, and then it just sort of didn't line up.
Yeah,
and then, all of a sudden.
No, and I jokingly say to everyone, I'm the primary carer at home, so with the kids, so a lot of my time is Em's obviously working, my wife, but as the primary carer, mate, I feel like I'm carrying much more of the burden than her at the moment, so I'm pretty busy. But no, it's great, mate, to be here, and actually going down to West Coast Cowan back then, it was one of the best things I did after footy, because I moved to Perth not knowing many people at all. You're in the cocoon of an AFL football club, and you don't really meet people away from there. But so I went down there, and the people I go to the Scarborough Sporty with most Saturdays are all the West Coast MO boys. So I really found some good friends down there. So it was a good move.
No, they're a good bunch of lads. I do miss my time there. I'm probably due for a comeback, but I'll hold it off for the time being. We got so much to talk about. You're former Hawthorn, former West Coast player, radio host all over here in Perth, but there's so much to unpack from your career so far. But before we even get into any of that, there's one question I like to ask every guest that jumps on the show.
Yeah, please, fire.
What would be your most random or your biggest achievement during your childhood?
Random achievement. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely anything.
Yeah, well, this just reminded me recently, because my parents just renovated their family home, so all of my stuff from childhood got shipped over to Perth because they no longer wanted it. For someone like me who doesn't go in the ocean, I went to the beach, I reckon, last summer, say 40 times. I don't reckon my toe hit water. I was under nine beach flags champion. So
beach flags.
Beach flags was my and I can't remember doing it. I had little dig togs in. Grew up in a town of 200, and then won the state title for the under 9 beach flagger. So that was an achievement.
Unreal.
That I can't even remember. I know we're out near Geelong somewhere, and I think I got a Friday off school to do the competition on Saturday because Geelong was about 6 hours from home. So I couldn't swim. I don't like being on the board, but I fine-tuned the under 9 beach flags. Was probably my favourite achievement as a youngster.
That's as you said, such a random one out of everything.
You asked for random.
It not be even in the water whatsoever.
I couldn't do the water stuff. Could not do the water stuff. So
not sending the young ones there?
Well, they're at the beach every Sunday. So wife's a beach goer, and she can swim as well pretty well. So she's done the Roto swim solo and all that sort of nonsense.
Wow, okay.
So she can swim,
you in the kayak for those ones?
No. I wasn't even allowed to be on the boat, to be honest with you. I'm not a very patient person, so there was fears that maybe when she was coming up for oxygen, I might have been giving her the "come on, let's get cracking" go. But she loves it. I actually grew up my house was on the back of a surf cliff, so grew up on the beach. I just don't go in.
Yeah.
I just don't go in.
Yeah, it's a dangerous spot, so I don't blame you at all.
Well, I think that's the fear I've got, and obviously just recording today. The weekend highlights the risks in that tragedy, but that's part of the reason why I don't go in. Yeah. I'm just when I can't see the bottom, I'm no good.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't blame you at all. Great answer. I love that. Probably the first beach-related one I've had on here so far.
Well, there you go.
Pretty happy with that. So just let's unpack you as an individual. Like you've done so much already in your adult life, but going all the way back, like you mentioned, you're from Victoria originally, and then you moved over here later on in life. What was the time like growing up over in Vic? Were you based in Melbourne, or did you start somewhere rural?
No, I started about 5 hours out of Melbourne, a town called Lake Tyers Beach. Not many people would know it at all. Lakes Entrance is probably the town that I sort of used to just say because that's where the local footy club was. If you're 15, 20 k's away. So Lakes Entrance, the next town on Lake Tyers Beach, we've got the general store and a pub. And then there was an Indigenous community called Lake Tyers, which was about a 500-metre boat ride from Lake Tyers Beach. So a nice little community area with the pub and the Jenny store, and then Lakes Entrance, which had a school up to year 10. So then you had to sort of move on. But for me personally, I was there in this tiny little town, a couple hundred people or whatever it was. Loved it. Didn't know any different. The Lakes Entrance Footy Club were like the people you idolise. Never met an AFL player. Just because it was so far from town. I remember one day Tarkin Lockyer, if you remember from Collingwood, was in the gym randomly, and I went home, got my gym gear, went to the gym at like the age of 11 to see an AFL player in their flesh. Did all the sports, and now as a parent myself, I have a much greater appreciation for what my parents did for me.
So, yeah.
Like basketball a few nights a week, football obviously training and playing, cricket when it was cricket season, and I thoroughly enjoyed them all equally. So there was no chance of sacrificing any sport any night. So as I've got kids now, 2 of them. I coach their Auskick team and whatnot on a Sunday morning when you do back-to-back Auskick and their kids and they're not listening and whatnot. It's easy to be frustrated and annoyed and pissed off at kids. But there was games where when I was getting a little bit older, and I'm sure you'll get a bit later in life, but I had a game of footy when I was playing for Gippsland, our region. The grounds were 7 hours from home.
7 hours?
Yeah, so Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong, as I mentioned earlier.
What time are you leaving in the morning?
Oh, it would have been like 6 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., whatever it might have been. So, me driving 2 minutes to Newman College to run an Auskick for 2 sessions a Sunday is probably not as big a commitment as what my parents did for me. So, as I get older and my kids grow and have as much love for sport as what I did, they never used to. It's just started to blossom. So, I certainly tip my hat to Mum and Dad, because you come home and be like, oh shit, Dad, got a game of footy in Bendigo on Saturday, and that's 5.5 hours, 11-hour round trip, and I always said thank you, and I appreciated it, but I didn't realise it was his entire day of his weekend, or a few $100 for a hotel room in Melbourne, and then get to the next spot. It was just, growing up in the country, wouldn't change it for a heart. Like, it was awesome. And I'm sure a lot of people my age, I'm 38, grew up the same. In terms of, we didn't have computers, Nintendos, all that sort of shit. It was like outdoors. And I remember the bus driver, the school bus, the secondary school bus used to come past an hour after the primary school. And no cars ever came down the street, but the bus did. And he always used to let me kick the football off the side of the bus. And it was like about the only kick I was allowed to could really have at that time was kick it off the bus, and then you'd crumb it and then try and kick it down the driveway. But it wouldn't change it for a heartbeat. Would I live in the country now? Look, I'd like to do a year or two in like an Augusta and Margaret River area, but growing up in the country, I wouldn't change, but I don't think it would be for me now.
Yeah. I'm sort of similar in a sense. I'm from Geraldton originally. Yeah. So I've obviously probably a little bit bigger than where you're from.
Yeah.
Yours sounds like more like a Horrocks situation.
Yeah,
where you sort of grew up.
Tiny. It's very similar to Augusta, where we like the holiday.
Yeah.
But Augusta's probably 5 times bigger.
Yeah.
You got the water running through the town and the beach everywhere and the rivers and lakes and all that sort of stuff. Like, it's incredibly beautiful. I've been to Geraldton once.
And then straight out.
Well, I actually had a car that I had to drive up to Geraldton, a Ford, and I had to do a thing for Triple M up there. But I had to do Triple M radio in the morning, so it was like 4:30 in the morning. I went through Macca's in Geraldton.
Yes, yeah.
And it was a brand new Ford Ranger, and they had those really bright lights. And the car in front started yelling something out the window. I thought he was abusing the people serving him, but he was abusing me for thinking they had the high beams up his ass the whole time. Anyway, he drove out. He was going off his head. Look, if I was to guess, and I'm a punting man, I dare say he might have had some meth in the system. Waited for me as I came out and then chased me through the streets of Geraldton. So at 4 a.m. in the morning, I saw every street of Geraldton because his bloke in a station wagon felt as though I had the high beamed him through the Macca's drive-through the entire way.
Mate, you've had the full experience if you've experienced that.
Yeah, I actually shit myself. I actually shit. I was... and then ended up hiding at the radio station up there behind, and it was a brand new car. So if this bloke runs into the car, I'm in all sorts. But Geraldton was a good night out though. Once the sun came up and I was safe, I was happy. It was a nice joint.
It has its perks sometimes, but you do get a few characters like that there.
And some good footballers out of that sort of area.
100% there is, mate. So it's so sport, big part of your life. You've done a lot with it in those early days. What stage did it start to go that you were started to go that little bit serious with it, where you went, well, maybe AFL was my calling from that point?
Yeah, again, AFL was never on the cards as a youngster.
Never wanted to be like you didn't grow up.
Loved it, admired it. Only ever saw it on TV. I never been a player. I was like, well, that's not for. Lakes Entrance was sort of where I thought I was headed, and then. Yeah, Paul Salmon as well came down one day and I met him and I was an Essendon supporter. So meeting Paul Salmon was unbelievable. Paul Deere, a little bit, when I got a bit older, came down, the 91 North Sith medalist, who's no longer with us, unfortunately. He bought the local pub randomly. So as I got older, like towards 13, 14, I started meeting more people. It was still just something that seemed so far-fetched.
Yeah.
It was a under 15s... No, under 15s, there was a tryout game for Vic Country. Like, I was shocked that I made Gippsland Power, which is our little region, Gippsland, and they're up against Bendigos, Ballarats, the Murray region, all the sort of under-18 sides that you might see in the national under-18 comp now. And I was surprised I made the Gippsland under-15 team. I was like, that's unbelievable. How have I done that? And then I made the Vic Country team, which was a shock. And then I still reckon they made a mistake, but I was vice captain of that team. I reckon they gave it to the wrong bloke. That I was vice captain, and the captain was Joel Selwood. And Joel was a leader.
Jeez.
Joel was a leader through and through, and one of my close friends. So he was like, righto, I need to align myself with the vice captain and we're the leaders of this team. And I was just like, this Joel Selwood is unbelievable. And like, he has to hang out with me. This is sick. So we're up in the Gold Coast, mucking around, and then got the All-Australian team from that, which meant the AIS went to Ireland. And yeah, just slowly but surely, I kept making teams that I didn't think I was ever going to make. And then eventually an article came out and it was like, this year's, I went to boarding school in Melbourne at year 9 or 10. And then an article came out, like when I was under 16, like the next crop of AFL players. And I was listed, and I was a bit like, shit, I reckon they've got the wrong bloke, honestly. Like, I had no idea. So, yeah, gradually more and more teams. But at the same time, like, I still played basketball when I was 15 as much as I played footy. I played cricket just as hard as I played footy.
What were you in cricket?
I used to open the batting. And it's fair to say I was probably ahead of the game at that stage because I was playing a T20 version before T20 came. Our old headmaster used to play Test cricket for Australia, and he used to be a little bit disappointed when I'd be out for like 10 off 6 balls. He'd be like, "Hey, it's a gentleman's game. It's a long form game," and I'd be like, "Nah, mate,
Play the ball to its merits.
I've got no time to hang out here." And then obviously my middle stump would get knocked over all the time, but. And also Fridays, if you played first 11 at school, you had Friday off school. So I was like, I need to play first 11 cricket because I wasn't much of an academic. So that was when I took my cricket a bit more seriously too, whenever you realise there's a day off school available. So, and then eventually got drafted in year 11 and I sort of just phased out most other things. Stayed in the boarding school and school for year 12. Said pre-draft because then you could get drafted at 17. So I was young, like now.
When did that rule change?
I think maybe the year after me or 2 years after me.
Yeah, okay,
So I stayed in school, trained at Hawthorn in the school holidays, played school footy, boarded, had $50 a week allowance out of my AFL salary in the boarding house, which was a box of Jim Beam most weekends because you were also 18 in year 12 at school. So, for $50 you'd get a box of Jim Beam and.
You're winding back the clock there for that price.
Yeah, I know.
Six pack these days.
Correct. So, that was sort of when everything started to take a bit of shape. Was just making these random teams.
So you never really had a full belief that you were that good. You just kept sort of getting selected, going like, "Oh, this is pretty cool."
Yeah, I never had a belief that I was good. Like I knew I was okay at footy.
Yeah,
clearly, had school footy and whatnot.
We all do.
Absolutely. But like you're running around school footy and you're kicking it and you're playing well. But then, making the All-Australian team under 18 as a 17-year-old, I was like, geez, that's a bit lucky. Like, I didn't think that I was much better than anyone else. Maybe they just maybe I was just nice to someone one day, and they're like, let's just ride this
Give him a
kid through to
crack,
under
see what he
18s.
does.
So it was just a lot of luck, and I reckon the ball bounced my way a lot more. As a junior, like I just got lucky a lot, and then probably in AFL the ball didn't bounce my way at times, and I got a little bit unlucky with a few bits and pieces. So, I still reckon those days were the best days of my footy life, were the school days, and they're unbelievable. My roommate,
there's less stress through those years as well.
Nah.
You're actually enjoying the game. There's no politics or anything involved whatsoever.
Nah, my roommate at boarding school was a guy. My first day at boarding school, walked in and I asked the guy who I became really good friends with, Rory. He's like, I said, do you know who this Tom bloke is I'm sharing a room with? And he's just like, good luck. I walked in, he's 6'6" on the bed, and his mum's unpacking his suitcase. I was like, he's a monster, this bloke. He's going to fucking eat me. And it was Tommy Hawkins. So, so it was just luck that, again, the ball bouncing my way as a youngster, like we just hung out and played footy all the time and mucked around. And school footy was awesome. You'd occasionally hide a six-pack of beer in your bag, and the only place the teachers couldn't go were into the student toilets and bathrooms. So you'd sit in the shower and have a VB stubby, and you knew they couldn't come get you. So they were just good fun times.
Unreal, yeah. So it all started pretty early, but I guess by the sounds of it, you never really. It was never really a card thing for you. Did you have like an idea of what you wanted your career to be early days, or did you always just sort of go with the flow?
Just go with the flow. Even like the players in that big country team, and I'll miss some names, but it was Scott Pendlebury, Joel Selwood, Sean Higgins, Travis Boak, Dale Thomas, Sean Grigg, like all midfielders, and we didn't win a game at the Nationals. I don't think we even got within 40 points. So like there's in terms of Hall of Famers, Joel would be in there, Pendles would be in there.
Household names, right?
Travis Boak would be in there, and then there's multiple Australians and Dale Thomas and Higgins and whatnot. But so again, like I was just like, I'm just going with the flow. We're just country kids who also we had a bit of a thing against Metro kids because again I just picked Joel and myself. He was in Bendigo, I was in Lakes Entrance. Like you wouldn't see each other. They're just 500 k's away until the day before the games, and then you're in a camp and off you go. Like whereas the Metro City Slickers. They'd train and they knew each other and they used to all have their nicely done hair and you used to think they were fuckwits, to be honest, the Metro boys. But I'll tell you what, you very quickly slink into being a Metro bloke when you move to the city. It doesn't take long at all.
So it's obviously you've been in part of all these teams and it's just painted that way for you to get to all these opportunities. So when did the call out come that, hey, like, Hawks came knocking at the door, but I'm assuming there was other teams knocking at the door as well. When did that sort of all come up, and then at what stage did you know, hey, I'm getting selected, I'm going to be an AFL player?
So I was doing work experience at the AFL, and draft camp was coming up, and the clubs had to submit who they wanted to interview at draft camp.
Yep.
And coincidentally, I was the bloke who was organising the interviews because I was on work experience. So I'd go through and get a player and line up which clubs and then book them in for their times. And I was pretty flat because I only had 4 interviews. Carlton, Collingwood, Hawthorn, Fremantle. And Kevin Sheehan was he's still floating around. I was like, mate, why have some people got 18 interviews who I probably think I'm better than and I've only got 4? Like, this is a bit unfair.
Yeah.
And then he explained to me, pick 1 was Carlton, 2 was Collingwood, 3 was Hawthorn, 4 was Carlton, 5 was Collingwood, 6 was Hawthorn, 7 I think was Fremantle. So the other clubs just assumed I'd be drafted by then. Yeah. So that was really when I thought, sick, I'm going to get drafted. This is wicked. So those clubs were, back then the priority picks were at the front of the draft.
Yeah.
So you knew the first 6 picks were those 3 clubs who were all battling, Carlton, Collingwood and Hawthorn. And I think maybe Carlton, from memory, or someone might have said, if you're there at pick 4 or 5, we'll take you. So just only Hawthorn took me. But that was, pretty cool because we played in the THC Cup Grand Final in the curtain raiser to Sydney West Coast 05. And Gippsland had never won a flag or anything like that. And again, like our starting midfield in that under-18s was Trent West, who won a flag at Geelong, Dale Thomas, Scott Pendlebury, and myself against Dandenong, who had like Travis Tuck, Nathan Jones, and one or two others. And we were the best team by far. And we only just scraped in. But we pumped them. So we went to draft camp the next 2 days later, but the country boys did what the country boys do pretty well, is we got absolutely smashed for a couple of nights. So headed up to draft camp knowing you were going to get drafted. You just won the TAC Cup Grand Final. So running the time trials and stuff, it wasn't like you were going to be picked 60 and whether you ran a 6-minute 2K or a 7-minute 2K, it might be the difference on draft night. So, yeah, we had a really good time. Winning the grand final. Like a lot of us got drafted and a lot of us were at draft camp, so it was good fun.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Just soaked it all in as much as possible. So then it's all come to fruition. You've had the call from Hawks. You've been picked up.
Yeah.
Did you get picked up during because there was that period? I'm assuming you got picked up around the same time. Like there was Buddy Franklin.
So Franklin was the year before. Ruffy was the year before. Yep. Lewis the year before. Clinton Young was the year before. Tom Murphy played a lot of football, leadership group, good player. And maybe one other. Simon Taylor might have been a bit of mature age then, but picked up then. So they had a really good draft the year before. And it was clear they were going down the kids, but they were still shit.
But they were getting to that stage.
They were, the kid, not like what Essendon are doing now. And West Coast, I suppose. You can see that they're going to be some good kids.
Yes.
You've just got to try and wait and see what comes of it.
Hold on to them.
Hawthorn got so lucky too, though. Like, if you put in Essendon or West Coast or one of those developing teams, two blokes in their third year that kick 110 goals and 80 goals or 90 goals, whatever Ruffy kicked, you're probably going to win a lot of games.
Yeah.
So we got really lucky that two absolute all-stars were drafted the year before, and then they sprinkled some really good talent around us. So like they missed on pick 3, that was me. They missed on pick 6, that was Bo Dowler. But then Grant Birchall came in then, and then the year after, like Cyril was there, Brent Renouf was there. Yeah. So like a few more kids were added. So it was that 08 premiership team. Like I think we were nearly the youngest team in the comp, if not the youngest team in the comp, and that's why I always think like age is not really an excuse, I think, because you never know when it's your time. But like Bud would have been 21, Ruffy 21, Jordan Lewis 21, Clinton Young 21 or 22. I was 20, Brent Renouf was 19, Birchall was 20, Cyril was 19. Like there was 10 of us who were like 21 and under. And it was probably was good for us because we were absolutely full of shit.
Yeah.
So like Geelong were this almighty team, which they were. And we were just young and having fun. Like we hadn't really been touched by the dourness of AFL yet. It was just still bright lights, big crowds, good fun.
It was still a whole new experience, whereas you're coming up against a team that they won the flag the year before.
Year before, 07.
So they've got the experience, they've got the run, they know exactly what.
But even the players you stood next to, on Grand Final day, for example, there was times where I would have played on Ablett, Bartel, Selwood, Joel Corey, like the list goes on, and you're in awe of them. Like I had trouble all the way through footy. One, our superstars knew my name, and two, like the people you'd stand next to. At times, you just wanted to touch them and be like, "Shit, that's Gary Ablett. That's Ablett Jr." Apart from when Chance Bateman got a blood rule in the 08 granny, and he had to come off and tape up his dreadlocks, and they said, "Oh, go stand Ablett for a little while." I reckon about 5 minutes here after Chang was getting stapled up, I was like, fucking get him back on. Because Ablett was just going crazy. And you're just like, if we lose this game, Ablett's going to be good and I'm going to be on him. It's going to be a disaster. So, we were young and those early days were just great fun. Like getting drafted. My welcome to AFL moment was actually draft day when Clarko had us around each year for a draft. Yeah. And if you were already drafted, you'd come around if you could to meet your new teammates, or your family would come if you were a draftee. And in the middle, there was an esky full of beers and soft drink and water and whatnot. And I had a party at our place. Mum and Dad had a little place in Melbourne after. So I was like, I can't wait to see my schoolmates. So eager to celebrate. But I walked over and I just grabbed a can of Coke out of the esky, and Sam Mitchell said, "We don't fucking drink that here." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "I'd rather you grab a beer. We don't drink soft drink." So I put the Coke full strength back. Coke Zero later was accepted, but I don't think I ever saw anyone really drinking like a soft drink or anything.
Right.
Yeah, he's just like, "I'd rather you have a beer. We don't drink that shit." So I quickly put that back down and grabbed a beer, and off we went. And that's probably why I was sick that night on draft night off the balcony. that extra beer I was forced to have.
Yeah, we'll blame Sam Mitchell for that one, I guess.
Yeah, but that was just the standard. Like he did it with a smile on his face,
Yeah.
and
Well,
that was an
shows the culture of the club, really.
opportunity to teach a lesson, and I learned it pretty quickly that
Yeah.
a can of Coke. I must admit that lesson he taught me has worn off since I've finished playing. But it's just the way that he taught was just be stern and fair, and that was it.
And that's just some players. That's how they do it. And especially being a younger kid at the club as well, they're probably wanting to get into you early and sort of stand and just know.
Lesson learnt.
Yeah.
But also it was done in a fun way and whatnot. And to be honest, like we never drank any sort of soft drink or anything like that. It was just, this is what we do. Probably later in life, I wish we probably did drink soft drink because we drank a lot of, we went out a lot. And probably soft drink would have been better for the recovery. But anyway.
Yeah, you learn from them. Well, you touched on it just then. Alistair Clarkson, he's undoubtedly one of the greatest coaches ever in the game. Four flags to his name. You got to be a part of one of them. What was it like under his wing? Because in the media, I remember growing up watching him, always with his interviews and all that, and it just seemed as if that he was a bit of a hard nut, but he sort of had a little bit of character to him. So
He's funny.
Being under him, was that sort of like the same thing or a different personality?
Yeah, no, he's funny.
Yeah.
He's very funny. But he was stern as well. The message was, it was thorough. And I think that might be we learnt a lot of lessons early. We were not very good, and we repeated a lot of things over and over and over. Repetition, and would get smashed and would sit through meetings and watch what we didn't do right and what we didn't listen to and the structure that we've been told to set up in that position, for example. But then 3 years later, you've matured, and those structures that the discipline and the way he wanted to play football was just bashed into you, that when the moments and the big moments came about, you knew exactly what to do, how to do it. There was no fret. Everyone was on the same wave path. He was unbelievable at building that football club, building the structure. And there was a couple of editions of it, because the way we played in 08 was very different than the way we played in 2012, 13, 14 and 15. Well, they in 14 and 15. Because he was able to move and have the right people around him and whatnot. But he was a teacher first and foremost. He was always so supportive. So much so that I started off playing pretty good footy as a youngster. And I got injured a lot, and I just felt I felt so flat that I was letting the footy club down and letting Clarko and those guys down. And that sort of played on the mind a lot, that an investment that they'd made in me was clearly not a good investment, because I just couldn't get on the park for a couple of years. So, the way that they invested in us young kids and our lives, and still whenever he comes over here to Perth, I'll catch up with him, and took the kids down to Hale the other day where they were training, and Nick Larkey and Harry Sheasel and those guys having a kick with the kids and whatnot. So, he's awesome, and and I hope for his sake that North continue to grow and develop, because if it clicks, you've seen it. He's won 4 flags. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He's probably the right guy for that type of job. Is there anything that like a memory that resonates with you, with one thing he ever said to you, or something funny he did in front of the club, show his personality? Or
no, he was an idiot at times. One day. The multiple things, but I think I've got this right from memory. There's 1,000 things. But one day, he got up and he tried to find different ways to teach us away from football, but still the same lesson. So there was one time we needed to toughen up a bit, so we followed the Marines, a documentary on the Marines, and before you knew it, before every game, the day before, we had to go swim laps underwater, holding our breath, putting ourselves in uncomfortable positions. I nearly died about 7 times doing it. Me and Liam Shields, I don't know how we survived, because we were hopeless at it. But one of the times he was telling us about how like the rice fields in China worked and how everyone had to be cohesive. What's the word I'm looking for?
Coercive?
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. But they had to, work together in a cohesive manner. And then we moved over to another one day, and it was like this ballerina, ice skating, ballet stuff. And he was up there, and we were all quiet. And then he's delivering this PowerPoint and, going through it and showing us vision. And he thought in his own mind he was absolutely nailing it. And everyone behind his back's just taking the piss silently, like laughing. And he's turned around after about 15 minutes of one of his greatest speeches of all time, and just all 40 of us, just a standing ovation. And that was when I think he realised that a lot of this stuff that he was doing that was a bit obscure and unique was just a load of shit. We were just like, mate, we're fucking done with this stuff. But no, like 1,000 different things. One day over here we played a pre-season game, or a proper season game early, and he rang the AFL and said, watch Fremantle, they're sending a player in off the line and they're splitting a midfielder, like they're cleaning up a midfielder who's back to the person, and it's quite dangerous. And he warned the AFL and the umpires before we came to Freo. Well, the first centre bounce, someone got split from someone coming in off the square and knocked him out or whatever. Right. And Clarko, we've got a win on the road. We're young, awesome, celebration, you beauty. And the trip back, the coaches get the laptops out to start doing their coding and stuff. And Clarko's seen the umpires get on. And still, he was furious about the first centre bounce. He warned the umpires they're knocking people out off the square, or doing some serious damage to players off the square. And I think it was Toddy Viney or Mark Evans or one of those guys knew Clarko was fiery. Well, everyone knew he was fiery, but knew this occasion had really set him off. And he sort of walked towards the umpires, and they've ushered Clarko, no, leave that, don't worry about it. Got on the plane, saw the umpire sit down, and whoever it was pretty injured, I think it was. Anyway, Clarko's still furious at it, and he got on the plane, sitting in his seat, and he pulled up his laptop, hit play on the first centre bounce to start his coding. He's seen the collision, slams the laptop down, got up, abused the umpire, gave him both barrels, got off. I think it cost him $20,000, and he's just like, he can't help some people. It's like, Clarko, we had to stay in your seat. And now you're 20,000 lighter or 10,000 lighter. He was telling that story when he was over here last time. It's just like, he gets caught up and the emotion gets him. He punched the hole in the wall in the commentary box. You remember that vision? Yeah, my head, if you look at it again, when he punches it, my head is on that side of the wall. Almost shake hands with him. Anyway, so he was furious. I think it was Matt Suckling, and we're winning the game. Like, it was a bad kick or something. And I didn't flinch. And people were like, well, how did you not flinch when that hand went through the wall? And I was like, oh, well, he was screaming for the minute prior. So, like, my original flinch was a minute earlier when he started. I was like, oh. And then you have to sit there and be like, don't flinch. Punches the wall, charges down, and the AFL fined him, making it up, but it's something like $5,000 for punching a wall on the screen and $5,000 for the damages. Well, his old man was a chippy. Clarko's old man was a chippy, and he thought the $5,000 was a bit expensive for a bit of plaster. So on the Monday, him and his old man turn up to the MCG with a bit of plasterboard to go up. He's like, nah, fuck that. You can have your $5,000 for the discipline, but I'm fixing the wall myself. So he drove to the MCG to fix the wall himself with his old man. And the AFL were like, Clarko, the fine's $5,000 and $5,000, or it's going to be $10,000 straight. You pick how you want it, but that's the fine. The wall's going to cost you $10,000. So there's 1,000 different things. Like, there's just 1,000 that, but like, so many nice moments as well. Yeah. I'm not a hugger at all. Like, I just don't like being touched. And I missed all of 2012 season, I reckon, most of it, and most of 2011. But I played the finals. And the day or two before the grand final, Clarko took me up to this little lecture theatre they had at Waverley, and he had made a film clip of me to a song, like read all about it or something like that. And we sat in the dark, him and I, and we watched a film clip that he had made of me playing with a song underneath it. And he just wanted to like build my confidence up. No, I hadn't played for ages. And he gave me the biggest hug saying, "You'll be right, mate. You've got this. Like, relax. You'll be okay." And like, he didn't need to do that.
Yeah.
He just wanted to make sure,
Out of the kindness of his heart.
Yeah, and we hugged. And I still remember it because it's about the only person I've ever hugged. And then I went out and kicked the first goal of that granny, and I was like, "I'm going to repay you, Clarko. I've got you today." Then I did my calf, and I didn't play footy for another year, so I let him down big time. Yeah, but he was great. Like I can't say a bad word about Alistair Clarkson.
He seems like such a special person. Just like the way he, even later on, and when he took the Hawks to the three-peat, they just ended up just keep winning and winning, and just seemed as if they just wanted to keep playing for him.
Yeah, but also you forget that they lost Lance Franklin in that.
They did.
Like people think that there was just this same juggernaut.
No,
yeah, they were juggernaut, but like we beat them over here in 2015 in the first final, smashed them. Maybe the scoreboard didn't reflect a smashing, but it was a smash. Like we were going to win from 20 minutes into the first quarter, and just how they managed to turn that around and absolutely belt us in the 2015 grand final. Like that was
the week before, flying back over here.
Back over to Freo. Yeah. Jeez, I wish Freo made that grand final.
Oh, don't worry, I was at the game.
It would have been a fun grand final. But yeah, it was just the way they somehow managed to get them back on track. In that first final, I accidentally hit Cyril. It was a good friend of mine. And it was early, and I swung an arm and hit him high, and it was 50 metres, their first goal of the game. And I knew as soon as I'd done it, I'd deck Cyril. And I saw everyone run at me from Hawthorn, and I was like, oh, yeah, Hodge, Burgoyne. And then so I saw Hodge coming, I was like, shit, I need to get Cyril. I need to get Sean Burgoyne first because I'm frightened of Hodgie. So I've got onto Shawnee, and Shawnee says that a couple of Hawks boys are shaking me. And I was like, geez, they're not going that hard. This is okay. And Shawnee goes, mate, I'm only wrestling you so Clarko doesn't yell at me. So I was just there shaking back. It was the heat of a first final. I just hit one of their best players, and we still managed to have a laugh about Clarko not going mad at us.
That's before we even get into the time at West Coast as well, like you've won a flag with Hawks as well. Like that 2008. Unbelievable to take that. I've never won a flag in any sport at any level. So what is that feeling like? Like, have you won a flag in or a grand final, whatever it might be, in your junior years compared to winning one on the big stage? What was that sort of feeling like? Do you remember the time? Do you remember the final siren?
I'd won a few flags, I think, in junior basketball and footy and whatnot. But I was 20 and I just took it all for granted. Like, I'd run around, found heaps of the footy, played on some of the people I idolised. Franklin was kicking goals. And, like, it was an out-of-body experience, but one that I just thought would rinse and repeat. And, look, if I'd stayed at Hawthorn, been injury-free with a bit of luck and also got better at football, maybe I would have won another one or two or whatever it was. But it never happened. So if I had my time again, it doesn't matter that you're 20 or whatever, I would have appreciated the moment so much more. There's a couple of things I sort of half hang my hat on. Yeah, I was picked 3, and clearly that didn't work out. But on the big stage, like, I got a kick and I played pretty well. So, like, at the end of the day, it wasn't a complete letdown at Hawthorn. Like, but that's what you think in your head. So I was like, I hang my hat on that. And Shane Crawford, I was number 8 and Crawford's number 9, and I was 20 and he was 36 or I don't even know. Maybe that's an insult to Crawford. But I go up and get my medal, and it's like, number 8, Xavier Ellis, bang up you go, shake the hand with the kid, do the right thing. Number 9, Shane Crawford, and like, that was the moment I warmed up with Crawford, doing the kick-to-kick, we'd go back and forth, sit next to each other in the lockers, just because 8 and 9. I remember the moment, like, I'm so glad that Shane Crawford's won a premiership. Like, I'll win another 5 of these. Don't worry about me, but I'm so pumped that Crawford, who was retiring, or he hadn't announced he was retiring, but did.
He pretty much continued his career because he saw a chance.
Yeah, and it was amazing, and stayed at Hawthorn all the way through. So they're the 2 things I really took back out of it at that time. But yeah, out on the ground, we played them round 17 that year. Friday night footy were clearly the 2 best teams. Geelong were the best by a distance. But we had the young stars who just were full of shit and didn't care.
You weren't really a chance. Like, a lot of people wrote you off. I
Yeah,
remember
that's a
game.
bit of nonsense though, because we were both like 12-0 at one stage. We'd beaten them the year before when they won the flag. Came to round 17, and Luke Hodge played the worst game of football he's ever played in his life, and he's spoken about it since. It was a close game, 90,000, and Hodgie was probably worst on ground. And the harder he tried, the worse things got for him. And he says that's the moment that he realised he needs to put faith in everyone else to do their jobs right, and he'll just do his job better than everyone else. And we got within like a goal. It was a goal in it late, and maybe they kicked one at the end to seal it by 10 points or something like that. And Clarko got in the next morning and drew up on the whiteboard, "You'll win the premiership this year if," something like that. And there was 2 dot points or 3 dot points, and that was it. Simple as that. We did enough the night before, and one might have been Hodgie doesn't play like Hodgie plays like Hodgie, but it was like relentless pressure. We were known as the unsociable Hawks, so we didn't mind the tackling and the biff and the bumps and all that sort of stuff. Whatever the 2 or 3 things you wrote down, but it was just utter confidence in 08 we're going to win the premiership. So from that moment, I was like, oh, round 17, I'm 20 and I'm going to win a premiership this year because Clarko's told me we're going to win a premiership. Like, he got you to believe it. And then the day before the game, we were outsiders, we were roughies, but we smashed Bulldogs in the first final. We smashed St Kilda in the prelim. And then it just happened to be in that round 17 game. I played okay too, like just ran around, had nearly 30, thought, how good's this? Friday night, you get to go out in the piss the night after. Geelong, again, you got Ablett and all the Scarlet, everyone was there. You're just like, this is unbelievable. And I didn't make a fool of myself. I actually found the footy.
Yep.
So grand final day, I was like, well, 8 weeks ago we played them and we nearly beat them, and I played pretty well. So let's just throw caution to the wind again. And same, it was just rinse and repeat, except this time we got up by about 5 goals with some Stewie Jew magic.
Oh, I remember that moment.
In the third quarter. I still once or twice a year, well, it either falls into my algorithm or I'll go find Stewie Jew's highlights. It's 5 minutes of just madness. I've never seen it in a grand final where we went from scores level to 5 goals up in a blink of an eye, and sort of held them at arm's length. And people were like, oh, but you rushed all your behinds. And that was a game. That wasn't not spoken about once. It was just on the day. You just felt like, oh, it's hot. It's 28 degrees. We're just going to rush a point and have a breather and go again.
Hold the game up a bit,
Yeah, it was just good fun. But yeah, it's, as I said, underappreciated. And I wish I had my time again, I would have probably absorbed it a fair bit more.
Yeah.
Both with celebrations, but also being a parent now, appreciating the journey of my parents, sacrifices. Like, we had a lot of kids in boarding school. There's 4 of us because we live so far from school. So like, what the cost of getting us the best opportunity would have been financially, with their time. I'm sure they would have missed things, gone without things. So I'm sure they also enjoyed it and loved the journey themselves. But yeah, I probably would have reflected it a little bit more holistically than going home and eating 50 bits of chicken and going to bed.
Yeah. No, 100%. It's again, like I'm yet to win one myself in any level. So I'm still waiting.
It'll come. If Jay Crawford waited, you'll be right.
Yeah, well, I'm 32. It's not going to be
You got another 4 years in you.
But you're the first person on this podcast that's won an AFL premiership. So, congratulations, you got that title.
Had 30. I did have 30.
Should have had the Norm Smith.
No, absolutely not.
So you've taken in all of that, and then obviously, like you mentioned earlier, all of a sudden some injuries started to unfold, and it inhibited your time at Hawthorn. Like, you couldn't get yourself in the park, you couldn't sort of go around again and contribute as much as you wanted. Well, what stage did you start to go, well, is my time at Hawthorn sort of like, is the door shutting a little bit at this point? Did they ever get sort of told that by anyone, or was there always the opportunity there?
Clarko was always great. He'd just say you have to play 2 games of VFL and you'll play AFL. That was the rule.
Yeah.
80 minutes full game AFL. It was almost the set rule that he had. But just like bad luck as well. Like, I'd hurt my foot in a pre-season game, finally missed a fair bit of time, was ready to go, playing my full game, 80 minutes for my first game. Williamstown, for example, we're winning by 3 goals. I'd done my 80 minutes. The boots were off. They went goal, and there was a minute to go. And I was like, nah, I'll just go back on for a little bit for the last minute, get the ball, do my knee. It's like, well, then I missed another 13 weeks there in the grand final 2012. And you do anything to win a flag, hurt my leg, did a decent calf, had a knee problem, and they injected my calf full of local, so I couldn't really feel it. God. And then I didn't play footy for the next year after that, and they win the flag. So, if you win the 2012 one, I cut the calf off. I couldn't care less. Yeah. Do whatever. Then you have a bit of bad luck there. So I just needed a fresh start. I was pretty miserable.
So it was more on yourself.
I was going. I was gone. I just said to the manager, I just want to get out of Victoria. So I was an unrestricted free agent. Pick wherever you wanted to go, really. I was just eager to get out and do something different. I was partying too much. I was getting what I probably deserved at the end. I just didn't care. I hated footy. I wanted things to change.
Feel like you lost that passion a little bit?
Yeah, I absolutely lost the passion. And had played the victim card a bit too. Fuck you. I've hurt myself. I don't know what. You just get in that state that, I needed to change. And if I can say I did one thing right, having the balls to get out of the state and go somewhere else and get a fresh start was the best thing for me. So, just told Clarko. And Chris Fagan was awesome there. They were all awesome. You got no criticism. They were unbelievable. But just in your head, you're letting people down, then you keep getting hurt, and you're probably not doing everything you need to do off field. So, told him off, going to Western Australia. Didn't know anyone. Adam Simpson was at Hawthorn.
Yeah, so you had a connection, didn't you?
I had a connection. So I was over meeting with Freo. Freo flew me over.
You would have looked good in purple, I reckon.
Well, I was mates with Nicky Barlow, but that was about all I knew at Freo. We'd just beaten you in the... You're Freo, obviously. I can see the sticker. We'd beaten the 2013 grand final. So week after that, Freo had flown us over to meet the coach and have some tests on my leg. Went into the Fremantle rooms... Met the physios and the footy manager, and I thought I was going to meet the coach, but he never turned up. I was a bit like, I've flown a long way to not sit with the coach and at least say hello, at a minimum, for me to say hello. Thanks.
Was that Ross Lyon?
Yeah. Look, they were pretty keen on Cole Sylvia, so I sort of knew I was maybe, but I wasn't not a big contract either. But anyway, so as they sent me to Subi to go and get my leg scanned, Adam Simpson texted and said, mate, come check out the office. I've just got the assistant coaches go from 4 or 5 of them sharing a desk like this, and you're on top of each other, and you can't talk, everything's just happening too. Ends up with a board-sized table, and anyway, and he was in Subi, so I wandered over there, sat down with him, and I said, just getting a scan on my leg, it's not much chop, but we'll see what comes of it, da-da-da. And he said, would you consider West Coast? And I was chatting to him, and I just liked the idea of getting out of Victoria, as I said. Just fell in love with the idea of West Coast, WA. And so Freo went a different path, and I signed with West Coast. I was at the Pakenham races on a family reunion on the next day, and said, I'll come over. Didn't know anyone, really. I knew Simo. Simo bought Daniel Pratt, who was at Hawthorn as well. And, the Selwood boys were here, who I was good friends with Joel. So that was about it for me. And it took me one night to become good friends with quite a few of them the first night out. And, I don't regret one bit of it. My contract was tiny. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I had to sell my car. It was awesome. It was awesome.
You had to have a lot of changes, but all of a sudden you started to regain.
Just enjoyed it. Simo said, mate, no one knows you here at all. Yeah. So if there's anything you want to change it. Do whatever you want. No one knows who you are. So the first day I walked in with my hat back to front, and Simo was like, what the fuck are you doing with your hat? I was like, I'm trying to change.
At least it's something different, I guess.
It was a blessing that Simo was there, and I came in poor shape, just not playing much over a few years.
He was fresh at West Coast at that time too, wasn't
he? First year. Yeah. No, he was. I said no guarantees. Small contract, obviously bonuses if I played. which was helpful because I ended up having if I played 18 games that year, so I had match payments and then little bonuses along the way, but a big bonus was 18 games. And on the 17th game, I ran back with the flight and got cleaned up and knocked out, nose, did my shoulder, and I watched the replay back, and my teammate pushed me into that contest. Motherfucker. And then,
do you remember who it was?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I
won't say names. It's all right.
Won't name him.
Tell me after.
Yeah, he's a prick. And then we had one more game at the end of the year, and my shoulder was cooked. Then I had surgery at the end of the year. But I was like, no, I'm good to play. I'm good to play. I promise you I'm good to play. And they wouldn't have known why I wanted to play so badly. But it was the Gold Coast on the Gold Coast. But we were still most likely going to play finals. So they said, stay at home. Coxie, stay at home. Because all we had to do was beat the Gold Coast, who were shit. And Sydney, who were premiership favourites in 14 at the time, played Richmond. And Richmond was shit.
Yes.
Were pretty ordinary. So all that had to happen was Sydney to beat Richmond and would beat Gold Coast and would make the finals, and I'd get my contract. Anyway, Horse rested every single Sydney Swan star, and Richmond beat them. So here I am with my bottom lip, tear in the eye, thinking I was going to go to Europe with that cash or wherever. But then I had to take a minute and sort of check myself because I was with Big Dean Cox, who was also planning on playing in the finals. And we got knocked out because of the Sydney Swan players getting rest, and Coxie's career was done. Yeah. So in the end, I was like, it's not the end of the world for me. So, Dean Cox, an absolute megastar, unbelievable bloke. Yeah, I was so lucky along the way to have generational superstars. Like Freo had Matty Pavlich in that Fife. So, the players that have gone through that journey will always remember how good it was to play with Pav and Fife. And some
100%, yeah.
Some players go through some of these shit clubs in eras where there's no one memorable from them. Like, there's absolutely no one who...
Sort of Demons went through that for
massive period, a lot of the time. Absolutely. Like, heaps of it. I've got, people who I admire and, still to today can't believe that I was lucky enough to play with Hodge, Mitchell, Franklin, Roughhead, Rioli, Kennedy... Cox,
just mentioned at least every footy season.
Unbelievable players that you still see and the highlights pop up. So, I was a very, very bit part player, but socially always stood the test of time. But actual football ability pretty limited compared to those guys.
You held your own every week in, week out. You wouldn't want to flag without doing that.
Yeah.
Between when you're at West Coast, two different clubs. Two different sides of Australia. Was there a difference that you noticed in the professionalism or the culture between the two?
Yeah. So they went really aggressive West Coast after their era of misbehaving.
Yeah.
To being the best behaved side in the competition without any doubt.
Like a destination club after a while.
Well, they just went to, and I'm not the fun police, but the rules were pretty steadfast in. We've finally come out the other side of success, but in some terms, ugly success with off-field stuff. So they were really, really straight, West Coast. I was shocked by it. They were the straightest team. But when we turned up, first training session, I had to do 8 400s with Beau Waters, who I thought Beau Waters was a tough back pocket, won't be able to run that much. Hence why he's so tough, because if you're tough, you don't, and you can run, just get away from the contest. He was the most unbelievable runner I've ever seen, an animal tapped. Beau Waters was incredible. He's done Hawaiian Ironmans and stuff since. He was finishing his 400s, and I was coming around the straight to start the last 100 of the 4. And he'd be sitting there, and I was like, this is unbelievable. What have I got myself into? And I was out of shape, but I wasn't a bad runner at Hawthorn. I wasn't a great runner, but I certainly wasn't in the bottom bit. And after 8 of them, I thought, geez, I might have to just head back to Victoria now. This if Beau Waters is a shit runner, it turns out he wasn't. He was the benchmark. But then we did a skill session, and the footballs they spent more time on the ground than in the air. Like balls were going everywhere, and we were at McGillivray and it was windy, and that Simo said to me, "Geez, the boys can run." I was like, "Yeah," and he goes, "But they can't fucking kick." And again, it was just windy. There's no fences. But if you missed a target, it would end 50 metres away, and like perfect for me because it gave me a chance to get my breath back. But that was the first bit. I was like, "Geez, the balls," because they were just built on mental toughness, running. Yeah. And Hawthorn were built on not so much running, skill level, certain types of running capabilities and strength capabilities, where these West Coast boys were just animals on the track. And then
a time, like obviously with the skill side of stuff there, like obviously Clarkson hammering you into it, like you've got to be bang, do this, look after your team and all that, and then you're looking at this side of it going like, everyone's making mistakes. Is there a difference between how the coaches looked at it?
Well, very quickly, Simo just moved training away from running 400s to skill drills, running drills. And before you knew it, like West Coast became a really skillful side, and they all had the capabilities. It's just, I can't remember doing too many running sessions at West Coast after that. Like obviously little bits and pieces, but a lot less than what they would have done previously, and a lot more ball work, where you're still getting the same amount of kilometres in your legs, which never made sense to me why you do running sessions without footballs. Yeah. I was like, if you want me to do 5Ks, that's sweet, but just do 5Ks of a drill. Yeah. So I can at least run with a football and kick a football from time to time and not just run around looking at a white line. But yeah, they just moved away really quickly to knowing that you've got the capabilities to be unbelievable runners. Now let's just work on the skill.
Now work on that side of stuff too. And you've also got to do the same thing at West Coast, minus not winning the grand final.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it earlier, like you got to be out there on the big stage again. You've experienced it once and you've had to win it, but you've sort of taken that for advantage, like you mentioned. This time around, like you didn't get the result you wanted, or you would have been nice to get. But how was it actually being out there again? Were you taking in smaller moments?
2015 was an unbelievable year, personally. Like just the fun I had in 2015 playing footy. No one rated us. Start of the year, I missed the first maybe 6 weeks with a hamstring or something. Start of the year, they got smashed by Freo, lost a couple of other games. It was like, we're just going to be pretty average again. Eric McKenzie had won the best and fairest the year before when Pritter won the Brownlow, had done his knee. Mitch Brown, the backup defender, key defender, had done his knee. So we were just light on into defence, and that was probably the best thing for us in terms of just we had no structure in terms of Eric McKenzie will beat his opponent. Yeah. We just had to make it up, and making it up was the best thing for us. But that was awesome fun. 2015, even though like maybe if we played them 10 times, we'd win 3 of the 10. 2012, which we lost, like I felt like we play that 10 times, we win 8 or 9 of them, and we missed. That was the big one that we missed. Like that side in 2012 had Gunston maybe kicked 40, Cyril maybe kicked 40, Bruce would have kicked nearly 40, Franklin kicked way over 40, and Roughhead kicked over 40. Not many teams have 5 players kick over 40 goals. Yeah. Like that was an unbelievable side. 2015, I felt like, the first final, Pritter didn't play, and we still beat Hawthorn, so Pritter goes in. We're going to be good.
Going to be strong, yeah.
Maybe I'm looking at it in the past tense and going like, maybe we're only going to win 3 out of 10 or 4 out of 10 times, but we certainly didn't put our best foot forward on the MCG. Running out and pre-game, I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, we kicked the first goal. But we just got walloped. We had one little moment in the third where I felt like we were getting our foot back in through the door, and the crack was opening and we were going to come pretty hard, and then that just got put out pretty quick. So it was a long day. Did a calf again, and it was just shit. So, it sucked. But again, to go from out of the final to grand final, you reflect now going, shit, I played in 3 grannies. That was pretty awesome fun. And a battler in all 3, but it was just like, how many people would want to be playing in these grand finals where you're turning up, team bus, out in the, over warming up with Shane Crawford. Oh, yeah. It was just awesome. Like, every single grand final, you took something to remember out of it.
Yeah, it was always something new going on. 2012, that's when you really badly injured yourself early in the game, didn't you?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. It just got bad. It just got bad. And time again, if you just had your chance to go back and reflect. If I had known if I'd have been able to live the 12 months and go, oh, maybe your leg's worse than what you think it is, you're not going to play much football this year, I would have done a hell of a lot more work after that grand final. Like, I would have just... But I just assumed I was going to be fine, and it just wasn't. So missed most of that next year. Then shot off to WA and still here.
Yep. Still, you've made it home. And you've obviously hung around at West Coast, and then again, it seemed as if injuries took its toll again.
Yeah.
Is that sort of when you thought, well, this might be it? My career's coming to an end.
Yeah, done. I actually remember it. He did a calf coming back again, and at Leadville Oval. A calf would have been 50, I reckon. I would much rather have done a couple of ACLs. Like, at least if you blow ACLs, you've got timelines.
Yeah.
Like, you're done for 12 months. You're going to start here, and we're going to gradually get you to there. Whereas doing 5 calves in a year, your motions are here, and then you're down here. And like, it's just that non-stop, and you're never getting to the point you need to get to. So you think, how exciting is this done? How exciting is this done? And it just kept happening and happening and happening. And then 2016, 2016, I could hang around. Wasn't highly paid or anything. And it just, at Leadville Oval, another calf went, coming back from a calf. And I just went and saw Simo on the Monday. Said, I'm done. I'm out. Thanks for, he was like, done now? Or you want to see it to the end of the year and, if you get your leg back, you'll probably just play footy. And I was like, nah, you won't see me here tomorrow. I'm done. And sure enough, after 11 years, it was such a load off my shoulders. Like, again, that injury cycle of going to bed, hating footy, getting up, hating footy, knowing you're not going to play, watching everyone succeed. And you're hoping your mates do well, of course. But at the back of your mind, you're just so envious of what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, 100% you are.
I rode that for maybe 4 years of 11 of just sitting there, just hating it, and didn't want to get into that space again. And called it quits. Not much of a goal of where I was going to go or what I was going to do, but that was me done and never return again. But and to see them win the flag in 08, and I told Simo actually he should have kept me around for a few more years because everything turned to shit after I left. They did win the flag, so I forgot that point, but. Those guys that played in that grand final and won it with the players I played with for those years. And, was lucky enough to be there when it all sort of started to change. And Woosha did such a good job, getting the mental side of the game and whatnot. And then Simo brought in a different sort of strategy around the footballing side. And watching JK and Lekar, and I shouldn't have started naming people because now I'm going to miss some people, but to see Shuey and, all those Nick Nat and all those mates just go on and win flags in a close game, there was not one bit of envy. Like, I was so thrilled and proud and pumped for them. Absolutely zero. Like 2013, I hated the day. It was shit. I left. I'm sitting there at the Crown where they had the dinner, and they were all being presented at Fed Square. And Simo came up and said, "Oh, this is pretty shit, isn't it?" I was like, "Yeah, it's shit." He goes, "Oh, just slither out, mate, when you want." So I grabbed my salmon off my plate, put it in my suit jacket, and went to one of the nightclubs where my schoolmates and stuff were. It was I was so proud and pumped for 2018 West Coast. It was, again, they were never really appreciated for, they were 15 grand final. 16 was a year that got away from them, I reckon. 17 they won a final, then 18 a flag. Like, they were still a pretty good side.
And how they did it in 18 too.
Yeah.
To be down and out.
Down by 5 goals or whatever it was.
Biggest powerhouses.
Yeah. No, away from home, on their home deck. It's just amazing. And every good player that, their careers aren't defined around premierships, but it certainly helps when these stars retire to say they've won flags. And, Josh Kennedy kicked goals when they were needed. Elliot Yeo took a moment, kicked a goal when they needed. Luke Shuey won a Norm Smith. Like, they really just stood up and they all had some sort of moment. Yeah.
No, it was, as a Fremantle supporter,
You didn't like it. You didn't like it.
It was hard to watch, but at the same time, it was nice as well to see my mates getting happy. It's just when they bring it up that they've got 4 now that rubs it in my face.
This year might be the year.
Yeah, well, I'm holding hope. Don't worry. But like I do every year, probably waiting for disappointment.
Well, all my mates that I go to the Scarborough Sporty with on a Saturday, they're all Dockers supporters. So every year they book their flights Grand final weekend. So anyway,
Summer.
they're there. They're there, ready to go.
Yep.
If they make it, I'm going to come over with them.
My plan is to make it there too. I just don't know how I'll get there. But
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to sit with them. That's the thing. So,
right, yes.
because I'd be happy for them if they won, and I'd be happy for them if they lost. I'll just.
You're on the fence no matter what.
So I'm banned from sitting with them.
As a past player, being at two different clubs, what would you say feels more at home, Hawks or West Coast?
Oh, as time goes on, you'd probably say Hawthorn, I guess. Yep. And then West Coast, as
they both offer different things.
Oh, they're both great, yeah. And to be honest, it's been hard West Coast the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Going to every one of their games over here and watching some of the performances, and it wasn't the West Coast that I was lucky enough to experience or play against. When I first started, Jada and Cousins and Kerr, and they were the team that you idolised. Yeah. It was only 2 weeks ago when Hawthorn were in town. I took the boys down, my two boys who aren't big into footy, just starting to really get into it, which is great. I just let them do what they want to do. They love soccer. They're outdoors endlessly, basketball, whatever. Now they've just started to really fine-tune into footy. But Hawthorn invited, me down, but it's for the kids, obviously, and you're on the oval for captain's run on Optus, and then Sam Mitchell comes and grabs them and takes them onto the Optus and does like kick-to-kick wrestle with them. And then James Sicily comes over and says, hey, boys, which players do you want to meet? And, then he goes off, and then they're on the oval running around, and Jack Gunston comes over and asks Ted, who's your favourite player? And Ted's favourite player is Jack Gunston. And he asked Gunno, how do you kick so straight, Jack? And Jack's like, let's go, grab a footy, we'll do a goal kicking. So giving him lessons. Jack Ginnivan, a son of mine, Albie, he was desperate. And I Instagrammed it the other day. I'm not big on social media, but I thought it was pretty cool. He wanted these white singlets, desperately one of these tight white singlets, like the cheap Bonds sort of ones.
Yeah.
Every night before he goes to bed, Alb, he asks my wife to Google some photos of sports stars because he looks at them and then he feels like if he looks at them before he goes to bed, in bed, that there's a chance that they'll pop up in his dreams, and his dreams will be related to sporting moments with sports stars. And his number one Google player is Jack Ginnivan. So he loves Guinea, loves him. And the white singlet thing, I was like, for God's sakes, Al, I don't know where to get a white singlet from. I don't care about the white singlet. You're 5. You just don't need white singlets. Anyway, I found a white singlet on the day of the training. I didn't know why he wanted it. Anyway, put it underneath his Hawthorn jumper, got to Optus, took his Hawthorn jumper off, and he was running around in his little white singlet. And Jack Ginnivan, I heard him say to Alb, I love your singlet. I've got one similar. So I got on Google, and I was like, well, it's such a weird thing that he's running around with these singlets on. But as you can see with the photo there, he's got his white singlet on. And the photo on Google that he's been dreaming of is that one there of Guinea with the white singlet. Right, yep. So he just wanted to look like Guinea. And sure enough, wears this little white singlet around. And I didn't know why. And then obviously I learned it was because Jack Ginnivan wears a white singlet in his private time. So, they got in the car. And to be fair, Jack Gunston's taught Ted how to kick a drop punt in 15 minutes. Unbelievable. But just the time they spend and how welcoming they are. And it helps, obviously, that Sam Mitchell's a coach and I'm friends with Sam. David Hale's a coach there. I'm friends with Dave. Max Bailey's there. I'm friends. They're obviously going to be welcoming to me, but the way they extend their olive branch out to my kids and other kids, I don't think there's a football club that does it better. My kids got in the car and said it was the best day of their life. And I was you realise at my age the impact that these role models and sports stars can have on your kids. And, there's just an example of 2 hours of the day is just, that'll sit with them for a long time.
Yeah, and it's just going out of their time as well.
Yeah.
To do that for them as well.
Yeah, and the wizard and whatnot, they're all everyone's hanging over the fence for a wizard photo. They've come over and that was an experience. It was really cool for them, and it helps me because slowly but surely soccer's half getting phased out and footy's starting to take over a little bit. But as my parents used to do, I just encourage whatever sports they want to do, and as long as they don't hit me up on a Saturday to drive them 7 hours to play games.
Look, I don't think you'll be getting that anytime soon, but just wait till they get their driver's license, I reckon, before they start doing that.
Yeah, I said earlier, I can't fathom how my parents did it. You just don't appreciate it until you got your own kids. Like my school, the kids go to school 2 minutes from where we live. I used to go to school 500 k's from where we used to live, and Mum and Dad would come down every weekend or any weekend I needed, and any opportunity I needed, someone there, they'd be there. Efforts from parents, unbelievable, and I'm lucky.
Goes unrecognised.
You don't choose them, and some have shit parents. Just lucky and more grateful the older you get.
So, the more they do, the more you start to realise as you get older what they gave up for you. So your AFL career in a nutshell is incredible.
It's not a word I would use, but
ups and downs, but still 120 odd games. You've had a career.
Yeah, I wonder if I missed more than I played in the end. It would have been close.
I'll do the math on that.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I reckon it almost would have been split down the middle, but no, it was awesome. Yeah, and very lucky, very fortunate. From a small town in country Victoria. Yeah, it's just a bit of luck went my way early days, and there you go.
We've got something to always cherish it by for sure.
Yeah.
Post AFL career, you've made your way into the media. Was that sort of an area you thought you'd go down?
Nah, not really. I just figured in Melbourne there was 10 teams, so the only people in the media are always the stars. And I think maybe it probably should be the other way around. The stars are fine, but their opinions are... I don't know. I feel as though those people that weren't stars are more able to have fun with the media and be less serious and whatnot. And I look at Dill Buckley and Dan Gorringe and those guys who are probably the captains of that department. They were just, I'd say, battlers.
Yeah.
Like they were battlers like me, and they've had 1,000 bits of fun since post footy, and
100%.
their content that they do is enormous and whatnot. So look, I had no ambitions of being in the media. Finished playing football. I was doing some stuff with Hit 92.9 over here with two guys called Will and Woody, who now have a national show on a different station. But they moved back to Victoria, and they went to Scotch College, who was my rival school.
Yeah, right.
So I knew Woody a little bit, Will and Woody. Woods actually played on me. There's a game called the Cordner Eggleston, Melbourne Grammar v Scotch, and it's known as the first ever game of organised football, 150 odd years ago, whatever it was. And they still get 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 to watch this school game of footy. And Woody tagged me and beat me. And I didn't know who he was until one day over here, this bloke comes over and goes, I used to go to Scotch, I played on you. And there's three people that remember that game of footy and my performance, how shit it was. Me, Woody, and Woody's dad. And so that's how we became friends, and he was a celebrant at my wedding in the end, but they towed me into that job. They they knew they were leaving and knew that I was around, so it was almost like put your seatbelt on, mate, because if you stay around over the next month or two, we're out. We're going to be gone.
Something might come up.
And there'll be a spot there for you. And still to today, like they're absolute rippers and close friends, and got me into it, really.
Yeah. And so now, like you're all over our radios every single morning. I hear you on my drive to work.
Yeah.
Mind you, it's only 5 minutes, but I hear that booming voice come through my radio. I know exactly who's speaking.
Yeah, 10 years. The working star, the long service leave went in about 3 weeks ago.
Wow,
So, 10 years at doing Brekkie Radio. So started pretty young, and now it sort of flicked over to Triple M, same company. So Triple M, the station I was previously on was probably skewed more towards females, and so was the other station owned by Southern Cross Austereo. So you're sort of eating yourselves, I guess. So they shut ours down, turned it over to Triple M. So we target more the men, and Mix target the women. And so that's how I sort of went from Hit 92.9 to Triple M. And it's good fun. It's Katie Lamb, who I work with, is an absolute superstar.
Have you done most of your years with Katie?
No, I've had 1,000 different shows. The last 2 years have been with Lammy, and they've been the funnest couple of years. She went on mat leave for 6 months, might have been. So that was a little break in between. But Katie's been if our conversations off air went on air, it'd be good for a podcast, but we'd lose our jobs on commercial radio. It's fair to say.
Same to you, both retire.
Yeah, like she's probably more inappropriate than me. But she just is funny. Like, she's funny. She's huge on social media, and I know that a lot of people would know her on socials. But, she's getting to work early on a Monday to Friday. We knock off early, obviously, but it makes it very easy when the person you're working with's not difficult, has fun, is there for a good laugh, interested in what you're doing, interested in your family, as I am to her. So, 3 hours in a little booth. Well, I shouldn't say a little; it'd make it sound like we're doing it too. We're not doing it that tough, to be honest. It's a beautiful big studio and whatnot. But she's been awesome. So breakfast radio is not a chore. 10 years in, another couple of years left on a contract. So I've got no real ambitions to change or move or whatever. Yeah. So this time of year is busy with footy and doing stuff over at 7 West and 10 and Triple M and the West Australian, but it's a good busy. Like, you've just got patches of stuff each week that you sort of duck and dive from.
You got your fingers in a lot of pies by the sounds of it.
A lot of pies, and the best thing is no one knows where you are. People just assume you're working. So I'm going to go home after this and watch the second half of the basketball before I pick up the kids. But someone will assume I'm somewhere working, where I'll be guts up, under the roof at home watching basketball or playing golf or whatnot. But to be fair, this time of year I do work pretty hard.
No, mate, that's such a great career. And I'm loving you on the radio yourself. Like, I just think the energy you bring on there is just unbelievable. It's something I would like to bring in, that type of energy myself.
Yeah.
I'm trying to match you, but I've still got a long way to go myself, I think.
Nah, I had no idea. When I left footy, had no idea really what I was going to do. I wanted to go back into footy. I'd love to do list management, which is a lot of footy. I'd love to do that. Yeah, absolutely love it. But when I left footy, I had one thing I'd said to myself: just say yes to every single opportunity you're given. And I kind of laugh when people say you got to learn how to say no. I was like, you can only really say no after you've said yes, in my opinion, because opportunities come and you say, and I get nervous, I shit myself, I don't want to do a lot of things. Like, I do not want to do it. But I say yes once, and if I hate it and it doesn't work out, then I say, not for me. But I didn't think radio was for me either, and I didn't want to do it. And my wife was like, you have to do it. Like, just have a crack. If it doesn't work out, just say no after a little while. And I said yes. 10 years later, I've been doing brekkie radio. Financially, it's great. Timing for my family, it's great. Mixture of football too, it's great. Like, if I hadn't had the mindset to say yes, like writing a column for the West Australian, I hate it. I love school. Hated English. Like, it wasn't my thing.
I think.
I wasn't great at reading. I could never keep up that way. And I wrote an article. I used to give it to my wife to fix up and whatnot. And now I just write them. Like, it's just, if I wanted to say no 100 times to that, that just gives you another opportunity to meet people or converse with people over a topic or whatnot. Same as podcasting, same as everything. I've just always said to myself, just say yes once, and then whatever comes of it, comes of it. And there's been times that I've sucked at something so bad, got home and just been like, please just delete this out of my memory and that it ever happened. And then there's sometimes I come home and you're really proud of what you've done and like put yourself into an uncomfortable position. And nothing's more uncomfortable than the first time you do it, I suppose. Yeah. So second time, third time, now radio, like, you see people come on air and they're nervous and they're shitting themselves and they're getting dry in the mouth. And I'm certain if they just continue doing it, like everything in life, you'd get easy. I've put the headphones on now. Half the time I'm eating noodles, I'm writing an article, watching the basketball, chatting to Lammy. It just takes time. And I don't know why I went with this stupid attitude of, if I had the attitude of say yes to everything once, would have helped my footy career, because I would have found other things to help my body and training methods and whatnot. But it's certainly held me in reasonably good stead since leaving footy.
Well, you find these things laid out in life, don't you? You learn from those mistakes to get to where you are now.
Yeah, that's right. I always just say yes to something once and see where it takes you.
Awesome, mate. I know I've held you up a fair amount today, and I really appreciate it. The last little thing I want to touch on is is it a brand called Sports Nuts? Is that correct?
Yeah, we did have it, or do have it. It's just a summer sporting range, really. We've now got AFL, Matildas, Wallabies, Cricket Australia, just mimicking all their certain Guernseys and stuff that the kids love to wear as sort of summer rash tops and whatnot. So, we see a lot of them floating around, which is nice, but it just got a bit too big for us, or a bit too hard to manage without warehouses and whatnot. So a bigger company's now taking it over for us, and we're just sitting back and, hoping that we make something of it. It's just an idea again, just say yes to something once and see where it takes you. It hasn't been. I'm not retiring on it, that's for sure. But it's good to have a crack at businesses.
Sort of having someone else in the background doing it while you can sort of just see from afar.
Well, it was Jack Redden and I who started it.
Yeah.
One night at the Wembley Hotel, we just started talking shit and thought, let's have a crack at this. And costs have gone through the roof. And
ironic for someone that doesn't like water.
Yes, well, I don't like the sun was probably the main point to start with my complexion, but. I just remember looking at a photo as a kid, and I was wearing this stupid rash top with a seagull on it. And I was just like, Mum, why have I dressed in who would buy a rash top with a seagull on it? And that was really all there was back then, were just these shit rash tops. So anyway, we started making stuff a little, because my kids always put up a fight, not wanting to wear rash tops and wouldn't put sunscreen on, but then wouldn't put a rash top on. So yeah, we just mimicked emulated their teams that they support, and it's just literally like a footy jumper that they wear in the water, and Cricket Australia, if they the Rugby World Cup's coming, all that sort of stuff. So just always trying to think of little ideas that we might like to do and whatnot. So yeah, TGI's running it for us now, and they're big and got bigger brains than Jack and I. So fingers crossed that it has a little bit of success, but. As I said, it's just good to do other things.
Yeah, something rather than what you're already currently doing.
Yeah,
something just in the background.
Get the brain spinning. And that's, as I mentioned, the other jobs I'm doing. Like, what I do at Channel 10 is different to what I do at 7. It's different to what I do in podcasting, which is different to what I do. It's just good to be doing different things. Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. I'm not sure that's for me. I'll work out once I get sacked by Triple M. But...
Years away, mate.
At the moment, I just enjoy having many different conversations and being around many different people.
Mate, that's unbelievable. I can't thank you enough. It's been such an honour to speak with you. You're someone that I've listened to for many years now on the radio, and to actually sit here alongside you and have this chat, see the insides of the AFL, being a nuffy myself, massive AFL fan, it's unbelievable to really sort of you take my words away.
Nah, mate, well done. I love podcasting, and what you've got set up here is great. And as I said, you don't get anywhere without having a crack. So well done to you. And this podcasting world is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So head down, ass up, and mate, pleasure being on.